Greetings, this is the Timeshare Traveler, episode 157, using timeshares to combine work and bucket lists. Who says you have to have them mutually exclusive? And who says you can't have more? So, timeshares can be more than just vacations. Combining work and bucket lists, part of the overview, managing work and time zones, especially if you're traveling. And great way to leverage last-minute specials to increase the amount of vacation/work bucket lists you can do. And then treating timeshares as a virtual second home, which means basically then at that point, as long as you can keep your virtual second home, you can work and go for your bucket lists. Anyway, before I tell you all about the details of each one of those things, let me tell you a little bit about my channel, and then I'll be right back. Hang in there. Hi, this is Cliff, and I'm the Timeshare Traveler. Welcome to my channel. The purpose of my channel is to educate those who love traveling in timeshares. I've been an owner for 15 plus years at timeshare ownership. I have elite ownership with Marriott, Hilton, and Worldmark. I have published over 100 timeshare video reviews, and I've published over 95 timeshare tips. I can be found on Facebook at Timeshare Trav, at Twitter, Timeshare Trav, and on the web at www.timesharetraveler.com. I'm back. First thing is timeshares can be more than vacations. Technology allows us to separate work location from the work we do. Not 100% of jobs are that way, but many, many more are. Some people use timeshares like me. I use it as a virtual second home. I'm not stuck to one location. And my maintenance fees are, I kind of look at them as kind of like the HOA of a retirement community with amenities. So that's about what I pay for my timeshares, and it offers me 2 to 3 months. Actually, I've been able to do it for a year, but in general, even without trying to stretch things, I can get 2 to 3 months, no problem. So there's the old snowbird method of retirement getaways. Leave the cold winter for a few months, leave the hot summer, and that may be a good way to get your bucket list in that way. But here's what I want to propose. How about having a working vacation for a few months? You can see different parts of the world while you work, and therefore you can sort of target your bucket list. So that's really the main point. More than vacations, you can, if you treat it as more as a second home where you're working and where you can work remotely and leverage the technology that's become available. That's where I think you make the game changer. So now let me talk about my main point, my main point here, combining work and bucket lists. What do I mean by that? Well, why not do it? Why not expand your bucket list and leverage the fact that it happens to be working, but I can work remote, so I can go to my bucket list places. So there's kind of a history. Communications, originally phone calls, and there was email, and then there was video conferences, expanded and made multinational corporations more and more possible, and then more people became the size of the company. They could be multinational. They didn't have to be billion-dollar companies anymore. It could be smaller companies. But here's what's also changing now, maybe it's because of COVID, but now there's communication technology is at the individual level. That lets you work virtually. You don't have to go in the office. You have so many other capabilities that you can do. And timeshares, actually, surprisingly enough, are well suited to that. And I see them better than the RV solution, because you can't fly the RV to Hawaii or Europe if you want to really expand things, or Asia for that matter, speaking from a U.S.-centric perspective. So again, why not combine travel and work? The bucket list does not have to be your vacation list. You don't do your bucket list only when you're on vacation. A bucket list can be woven into your work. You still have weekends, and maybe that's where you do your bucket list. So maybe you do, or maybe you do it on a Wednesday and you work on Saturday because it's a virtual workforce, and you can, depending on your job. So we just weave it into your work. If you don't have to be at a specific work address, what you can work virtually, then timeshares are really an interesting option, at least in my opinion. And I'm actually doing a lot of that. One thing that I kind of have to manage now is I'm managing the work and time zones. So I pretty much have been, because of COVID protocols and stuff, I'd been mostly in the United States, but you could do it in Europe. But you kind of have to, working remotely may mean that you have to work off hours. Meetings are scheduled where your home office is, and you kind of have to, it's not about publishing where I am and so forth. If you choose to travel and work, then you may still need to work your regular business hours. Working virtually is not the same as going on a business trip. When you travel for work on a business trip, then the expectation is you possibly will be off time zone, and so you sort of work with the people you're traveling to work with, and then you're kind of off hours. You sort of fill in the normal homework work you do at your home base. But when you choose to work virtually, then you really need to stay wedded to the time zone in your address. So it puts a little bit of burden on you. But to me, it's actually, if I'm in Hawaii and I'm 3 hours behind and I'm from California, then I get up early and I work. But you know what that means? I get the beach and the sunset in the afternoon instead of I go to sleep a little early, so I miss some of the when it gets dark at 9 o'clock, I go to sleep and get up and start work at 6 or 5 and work till 3 or 2, and then I have the whole afternoon to do my bucket list. The next thing I'm touching on is the sort of advantage that timeshares have when you look at the exchange networks, particularly around last minute travel. And I mentioned RCI and Interval in some of my other videos, but typically you can do $400 a week, and if you book within 45 days of arrival, it's RCI has last call, and the getaway is what International calls theirs. And so you can actually, for about $400 a week, which I translate to $1,600, maybe it's $1,700 a month. You basically have a month of staying remote, which is, if you sort of figure out, have friends rent out your place while you're gone for a couple months, maybe that you can get a kind of a wash of what your place is costing you. And here's the other thing: is all the garbage pickup, the cleaning, the TV, the internet. Those costs are included. So when I gave you that number, that's the all-inclusive number. You don't have to add $100 for cable, $50 for internet, the garbage pickup. That's all inclusive when I give you that $1,800, $1,600 to $1,800 amount. And again, it's another way timeshares support the virtual workforce. It can be seen kind of as a supporting technology that the Zoom meetings and all that other stuff that we've now been able to, and working in cloud applications and so forth. Anyway, there we go. That's I think kind of a bonus that timeshares offer. And my final point that I've used in a couple of other videos is treating timeshares as a virtual second home, or maybe you can count it as your virtual office, whatever you want to call it. Maybe it's a virtual office, however you want to see it, so that you can develop that second home office. Develop a set of standard things that you travel with. Always have your work. Maybe I'm a coffee person, so I have I'll show it to you. I have my so I can do my French press coffee, and it's metal, so it stays warm, and that's my coffee for the day. And I get to have high-end coffee, even if I'm at not always timeshares or hotels have the best coffee. Okay, and the other thing about timeshares is you can drive to them in some cases, but you can also fly to them. And again, that's why I see it slightly advantageous over an RV. Not to say there aren't advantages of the RV, but I thought about one or the other. I just think it's a great option. But and again, the other thing is maybe actually you can make your bucket list bigger. Not say, oh, I want to finish my bucket list, but no, if you're traveling more places, more years, maybe you get the option of having a bigger bucket list. So I'm kind of excited about this. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe.